Our guest today is Dr. Michael Greger, and I'm just going to say it. He's one of my favorite people in the world.
Yes.
Is that okay with you, Todd?
Has.
Who, by the way, for those of you, there might be a handful that don't realize, this is more than just a wonderful physician. He's a best-selling author of the book, How Not to Die, which I'm not even joking here for a change, it's life-changing, and it's an absolute lifesaver. And I have, how many copies have I sent?
You probably saw your sales through Audible jump.
I knew there was some reason it made the New York Times bestseller list. In fact, just this month, here, September, it's number 9 on the health list.
There you go.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But, you know, I've never had, I can't remember ever having anything that I wanted so much to share with the people I care about and love. My brother recommended it to me, and thank goodness.
Your brother must want you around for a long time.
Go figure. We had actually recommended to him, we had read Salt, Sugar, Fat by Michael Moss. What a reveal that was about the food industry.
Totally.
So once we started thinking about food and everything in general, and then got your book, we couldn't believe how good it is. So thank you for everything that you're doing. You know, our show is targeting seniors like us, and we wonder, how does this work with seniors? I mean, we're the first generation raised on processed food and sitting in front of the TV for hours. Do you get a lot of folks who just say, I can't do that? Or is there a good response from our generation?
Well, I mean, the good news is it's never too late to start eating healthier. It's never too early to start eating healthier either.
Sure.
And, you know, I'm always surprised at which patients will take it up. I mean, there are some people, they just assume, oh, they're the kind of people that would eat this way and they'll never touch healthy food. And other folks, they think, oh, they're set in their ways, just, you know, but they're rational enough to say, well, wait a second. If that's what the evidence shows, I mean, what if there's ever anything in our lives that we should demand evidence for, it should be the health and well-being of ourselves and our families. You know, some people, you know, are convinced by the science. They say, oh, okay, that's what the science says, I'll do it.
You know, that's true, I think, especially of like our kids' generation. When I was sharing your book with them, I would say to them, science, because they do appreciate that. And I was shocked.
That concept.
Yeah, that they really get that. And they were shocked because so much of this, you just assume we would have heard of this before, and you just kind of assume that your doctors would know. But if you could capsulize what you discovered about, you know, in the medical profession, how much instruction you guys are actually given about nutrition.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a severe nutrition deficiency in education in medical school. Doctors just never taught about the role a healthy diet can play in preventing, arresting, and reversing disease. Average physician may just get a few hours in training.
Wow.
Less than a quarter of medical schools have a single dedicated course in nutrition. But if you look at, for example, the Global Burden of Disease study funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the largest study on risk factors for disease to date, number one cause of death in the United States and number one cause of disability is our diet. Now bumping tobacco smoking to number 2, cigarettes now like 500,000 Americans every year. Worse, our diet kills hundreds of thousands more. So if diet is the number one cause of death, number one cause of disability, then certainly diet must be the number one thing taught in medical school, right?
You would think.
It must be the number one thing your doctor talks to you about at every visit, right? Right? But there's just this disconnect. That's what I found in my medical training, this disconnect between the science and the practice of mainstream medicine. I mean, and this is nothing new. So, for example, Dr. Dean Ornish published his landmark lifestyle heart trial back July 1990, showing that our number one killer of men and women can be reversed with a plant-based diet and other healthy lifestyle behaviors. Since that time, no one else should have died of heart disease. The cure for our number one killer was found, published in some of the most prestigious medical journals in the world, yet nothing happened. Hundreds of thousands of people continue to die from this preventable and reversible disease. So I said, well, wait a second. If effectively the cure to our number one killer could get lost down some rabbit hole and ignored, what else might there be in the medical literature that could help my patients, but just didn't have a corporate budget driving its promotion? Well, I made it my life's mission to find out. That's why I started nutritionfacts.org, and that's why I wrote the book, How Not to Die.
Now, has your book created an interest or, let's say, changed any minds in the medical school field or as far as medical school curriculum?
You know, there's actually a tremendous interest. And this because it's so frustrating to treat chronic disease these days. Most of what comes to a primary care doctor's office are chronic diseases, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, obesity. These are the kind of things that doctors have very little we can do. I mean, someone comes in with diabetes, we can slow down your diabetes with insulin and pills and, slow down your blindness and your kidney failure and your amputations, but it's just not very satisfying for a doctor or patient. But then you're like, well, wait a second, there are some tools that are missing from your medical toolbox. You were just never given these in medical school. And look, you can actually stop type 2 diabetes, reverse type 2 diabetes, cure type 2 diabetes, diet and lifestyle alone, sometimes within a matter of weeks. And now that's exciting. That, I think, kind of reignites the spark of why so many people went to medical school in the first place. I mean, if you want to make money, you go to the stock market or something. Right. People go into medicine because they care about people and want to take care of people. And it's hard to do these days, but with the tools of lifestyle medicine, it can be very powerful.
Well, if you if we are friends, walk into their doctor and get one of these blank stares when they bring up the information that in your book or about going to an all-plant diet, what can they do to help, or how would you give them direction to help educate their doctor, or where can their doctor go, I guess, to get that extra information?
Yeah, there's some wonderful resources now. So I would just share with them a good review article from the peer-reviewed medical literature. Probably one of my favorite, the Permanente Journal, which is the official medical journal of the largest managed health company in the country, Kaiser Permanente, have a series of articles telling their 14,000 physicians to encourage their patients to go on a plant-based diet, and kind of just lays out the evidence very clearly and succinctly, and it just gives a really nice overview. That's probably my favorite review. Another one was just published last month, and so I'd probably just bring that to them. They're like, look, this is the peer-reviewed medical literature. This is just a summary of all the power you have at your disposal. Check this out. And then, if they're really interested, they can dig into some of the primary citations, look at the original studies. And I think they'll get more and more excited the more they see the power that they have that they never thought they may not have known before.
They can give you a call.
We had great success with our doctor, by the way, when we started, and he was like open. Plus he had educated himself already, and that was such a good feeling.
Well, he's a younger, newer physician too. So I think he was, more open to the new thoughts and concepts, and actually had heard some of read some of the things about nutrition.
Really? Great. Yeah. Oh, that gives me some hope.
Yeah.
Too often, the old guard just has to die out, and then being replaced. But how many decades is that going to take?
Yeah.
And how many needless, unnecessary deaths, and how much suffering before they figure it out.
So
Absolutely.
True. And I got to tell you, we got just 2 more questions, but one thing I wanted to mention is that if anybody had ever told me you guys could get by just fine with hardly any meat, if any at all, we would have been like, yeah, right. Because, you grow up and you just think, no, what's a meal going to be without the meat part? But like last night,
we took one of Debra's tried and true recipes.
It's a Thai dish that I just kind of made up.
And
we
always substituted chicken. We substitute garbanzo beans for chicken.
Oh. Great.
Absolutely no difference.
For chicken.
We thought, come on, let's face it. In this Thai dish, all the other flavors are doing the stuff. It's like the chicken was just there by habit. Do you know what I mean? By habit. But your information about chicken.
In fact, if you think about it, with meat without flavoring, like if you just boil meat, literally no flavor, no seasoning whatsoever. What does boiled meat taste like?
Gross.
Not much. It's got a texture which you can mimic in other ways, but that's not. The flavors of the dish is what. So if you put more barbecue sauce on anything, it tastes like barbecue sauce. And so I think that's good to realize. You're like, wait a second. The reason I love this dish, and this dish is not necessarily the taste of the meat itself. And you can get this similar kind of satisfying palate from other foods.
Oh, yeah. And I admit, when we were younger and we first met folks, I'm thinking back when I was in my 20s or whatever, and you'd meet Prevention Magazine, I guess, came out somewhere, I don't know. And I kind of would roll my eyes because I thought, oh, gosh, here's somebody else is going to talk
vegetarians.
about but I just didn't get it. It really is a science. It really is proven. And I love how you just prove. By the way, can I just tell you, because I narrate things, you rock, mister, as a narrator.
Oh my God, brutal.
I love it. No, you're so good.
Oh, my poor vocal.
5 days.
Only 5 days. That's good. Are you kidding me? You did great. I give the audiobook version to people because I figure a lot of them travel and they're going to be more likely. And I say, wait till you hear this guy. And I always caution them, make sure that you don't have the book we had listened to right before yours. The narrator was kind of like this. It was good info, but so we listened. But boy, I had sped it up. Audible lets you crank it up, and at first I thought, well, Dr.
So
Greg
you
is
were
really fast.
cranking it out, boy.
Then I realized,
do I sound like the chipmunks?
It didn't take you up. It just was faster. You're saying everything almost as fast as I do, and I get excited.
Wow!
But boy, no, seriously, good job with that.
Yeah, the publisher actually wanted to get a voice talent to do it.
Oh, I'm so glad
this like Shakespearean actor guy, which I think he would do a good job, but I really wanted to do it myself.
Well, he would not have had your passion.
Oh yeah, that's
true.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something. You are a voice actor, and a lot of people think of actor as someone who performs, but in the real world of acting, which I'm in, it's not performance. It's just communicating real. It's just conveying reality. And this is what I love what you did. Plus the humor. You know how to, you know where your jokes are. And it's just such a good listen, such a good read.
Great.
And we appreciate having you. If I may, I want to just get your opinion before I hang up here. Because when the news articles came out a few days ago about, the sugar industry did this thing years ago, right? But what I'm wondering is I see articles now, and I haven't read them all, but like, so it turns out that saturated fats might be great for us after all. I'm seeing titles like that. And I didn't get anything like that from what I read about this revelation, right?
There's this kind of false dichotomy. Is it the sugar or is it the saturated fat? Yeah. So if something comes out saying saturated fat is bad, the sugar industry says, see, sugar's fine. What? And when something comes out saying, sugar's bad for you, the meat and dairy industry says, see, I told you so, eat your cheeseburger.
It was those guys.
What? It's such a false dichotomy. It's actually both bad, right? And so it's like, should I eat, candy or bacon? Well, actually, there are healthier. You should eat oatmeal. There are healthier choices. And so, yes, excessive added sugar is bad for us. Excessive saturated fats bad for us. But I'm happy with that story because it talks about industry influence. The corrupting influence of commercial interest in nutrition. That's why it's so critical to have someone who will dig through all the medical literature, follow the money, see, put the particular study into context, and really get at the best available balance of evidence. So that's something that I wish during medical training I had. And when I found that such a resource didn't exist, I decided I just needed to create it.
Yeah. And that's the best part. I keep thinking about how you're living out your dream, which when folks start listening to or reading the book, they'll see why you got into this. And I keep thinking, if only we could all be so lucky to live what we want to give. Because, some friends of ours, one time I said, it's true about, giving is better than receiving or something. And they said, actually, giving is receiving. And so I think of you, what a great feeling it must know that there are lots and lots and lots of Debra and Todds out here just saying, thank you for revealing all of these wonderful facts. And now we can make our choices. Yeah, we're still going to have a day where if we're doing a birthday party or something, of course, there are times.
In-N-Out burger is hard to pass up sometimes.
Once a year. We really only were going 3 times a year anyway.
It's body your choice. Do it. You go bungee jumping. Do whatever you want to do. It's really the day-to-day stuff that adds up. It doesn't matter what's happening on your birthday or holiday, special occasion. On a day-to-day basis, we should all try to eat healthy.
Right.
And I'm going to guess we should exercise because look what he's doing.
You should exercise.
I'm just thinking. Thank you so much for the time you've spent. Again, the book is How Not to Die. Our wonderful guest is Dr. Michael Greger. Check out nutritionfacts.org. Thank you again for your time, sir.